Maya Thomas. Welcome back to Table Talk. We are continuing our discussion on private prisons. Here with me today are Dr. Tyler Royce Blaze Cox in a Box and Griffin. So, do you think private prisons are moral?
Of course. I mean, you can put prisoners in jail who committed crimes, and it's just easier in the whole system.
But what about the 28% higher inmate on inmate assaults that happen within private prisons?
What about in Arkansas, after 5 years, only 1 in 5 women who were released were repeat offenders?
I mean,
It's a reformation program as much as a prison.
yeah, but I mean, if they're gonna get assaulted the entire time they're in there,
They're not going to want to go back, and they won't commit crimes again.
they're not gonna. So you just don't care about the person themselves, as long as they don't commit crimes afterwards.
A lot in your trash can and your trash bag just breaks. So trash everywhere, does it smell bad? Well, I've got a product for you. Get Glad ForceFlex Plus. America, get Glad.
Glad!
Get glad! And we're back. So, Griffin, what benefits are there to having private prisons?
There are a ton of benefits. 1, less government. Because you don't need government sticking its nose in everything. We can handle our own criminals. 2, private prisons are cheaper to the taxpayer because all your tax money is going straight to the federal federal prison system. The prisons themselves take care of the managers, take care of the prisoners, and they don't have the bureaucratic oversight committees that cost money.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop you right there. In-depth research from Arizona states
Excuse me!
that private prisons
Hey.
don't actually save
I was
any
talking.
money.
I was talking.
Actually, they can cost up to $1,600 more.
Mr. Moderator,
Listen,
I was talking.
he was talking.
That's right. Okay. Royce voice. They create new jobs and tax revenue for local economies. For example, federal prisons, you gotta be a federal agent to work at the prison. My prison, just come on in. I don't care who you are. Criminal background, it's all right. You can work for it. It's cool. New taxable jobs for the local community. Makes money. Also, helps handle the large quantities of prisoners. The operating capacity of some prisons in California have been 123% full. They don't have too many people. We can take them off their hands and make it easier and nicer. Another one. The governments have been doing it the private prisons have been doing it for years. The government has been shipping out prisoners to third-party prison systems. Can we really disrupt that process now? No. All right? And they can be refitted. Prison's done. Prison's not making any money. All right, I'll turn it into a warehouse. Turn it into a factory. Boom, easy.
Are you done?
More? No, I'm not done. There's so much. So many good things. Also, there are less repeat offenders. For example, in Arkansas, after 5 years after a group of women had been released, 1 out of 5 were repeat offenders. 1 out of 5! 1 out of 5. That is awesome. That's 20%. Only 20% were reoffenders. That's sick. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so beat that. There's 7.
I realized we had 2 snakes on the show. Anyway, private prison employees, first of all,
Well, right, that's not going in. That's not stopping.
No.
make $5,000 less a year than their state counterparts. So if you work at a private prison, you're already making $5,000 less than you would if you worked at a state prison. So I mean, who would go there? Also,
Yeah, where'd you get that from, huh?
You only finish actually justicepolicy.org. You can Google that if you want, like a little Samsung or whatever it is. Anyway, you Google it. Like I was saying earlier, in-depth research from Arizona states that private prisons don't save almost any money. In fact, they sometimes cost $1,600 more per prisoner.
Yeah,
than
stop.
their
No one's
state
believing
counterparts.
this.
$1,600 more.
They're censoring conservative viewpoint. So get that out there right now. They're trying to censor my conservative viewpoint.
Moderate.
Censoring.
Thank you, moderator. I'm sorry. EC gets a lot on it. Anyway, Correction Corporation of America, that's the CCA. They're actually one of the biggest, private prison companies in America at the time. They actually think they make the most money right now than the other private prison. They spend $17.4 million a year, or in the past 10 years, on lobbying expenditures to make sure that they can stay in business.
Your point?
My point is that people realize that this is obviously not good for the prisoners. So they have to spend that much money to make sure they can stay in power. There's obviously clearly something wrong with that.
Maybe our lobbyists should pass legislation that's beneficial to the prisoners the government doesn't want.
I actually didn't catch any of that, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Of course you didn't catch any of it. People.
Also, you guys have 28% higher inmate on inmate assaults than, normal prisons?
20%.
28%?
No, wait. Excuse me, Mara, he's interrupting me. I'm getting sick and tired of
It
you
was
letting this
his
happen. No.
talking
Yeah, I was
point.
actually-
He asked me a question, moderator.
That
I
wasn't a
didn't say
question.
it, I was a statement.
It's a question. We have 20% reoffenders. They have 28% violence. 28% violence to 20% reoffenders. Reoffenders every day. All right? It's better. We're just better. Okay? It's a little bit rough, but it's better. Tough love. All right? It's better. It's better.
Can you let him finish?
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Whatever.
Also, one prison in actually Arkansas went without a full-time doctor for 6 months. They didn't have a doctor in the prison for 6 months.
Can you prove when
Those
doctor?
28% higher assaults I was talking about. Imagine someone getting assaulted in that time period, which is very likely because how much higher it is, and not having a doctor there. Then what are they gonna do? Die?
Maybe we had nurses.
You hear that? He's okay with people from private prisons dying. That's what he's saying right now.
You're okay with reoffenders. You're okay with no jobs.
It doesn't cost any more jobs.
He's okay with less jobs. He's okay with less taxable income.
You'd actually be saving money if you just had normal prisons like we did, and we wouldn't have to hurt people.
He's a liar. He's lying. He's lying.
At home, people at home, you can Google this. It's on justicepolicy.org. That's JUSTICEPOLICY.org.
People at home, you can Google why prisons are good. .com. And I'm more charismatic. Yes.
Our country is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Our president is trash. Our policies are trash. We need to clean America up. You know what that means? We need to get rid of democracy and go back to a monarchy because all hail the king. We had it right when we were under Britain. We had it right.
Hello, I'm Maya Thomas. Welcome back to Table Talk. We are continuing our discussion on private prisons, this time on the economic aspects. I'm here with economist and El Chapo's financial advisor, Archduke of Ferdinand, Micah King, second in line to the Estonian throne, and economist and aspiring Instagram model, Zariah Jada Taylor. So, Jada, as an economist, do you support private prisons?
Okay, if we're focusing on the financial aspect, I agree. There are a lot of pros that come from it. But my focus as a human being is on morals. And there's just too many problems that come with private prisons. People
I entirely disagree because I'm royalty and that means I'm better than her, and obviously because I'm in a better education because I went to Harvard. But anyway,
Isn't it an intro? What's the degree?
Okay,
what is my
let's-
degree? Degree in economics.
Let's
Period.
continue with Jada's point.
No, let's continue with my point because I outbuy this whole industry because I'm not rich. Like I said, we here to make money. If it's not about money, don't talk to me. Forget the people in the prisons. They did the wrong, so they get to stay there. Obviously, I was El Chapo's
You're a
financial
black man
advisor.
in America. How are you going to agree with this?
I'm not actually black. I'm from. No. No. I'm Haitian and Caribbean. So your mistake. Yeah, your mistake. Your mistake.
When the cops look at you,
Try to.
how do
It
you
is, they don't look at me because I pay off the cops if there's a problem. I was El Chapo's financial advisor, so I don't do that. I
So
was
you be in jail too.
not because of me, but I still got my money. Like I said, you do the time, the crime, you pay the time, and then you get the money because private prisons, obviously. Back before I was rudely interrupted by uneducated swine, aka aspiring Instagram model. Aspiring as in she hasn't made it yet. Okay, so.
Avery Sawyer, please come to the Student Center for your ride. Avery Sawyer, please come to the Student Center for your ride.
You can obviously see at the information that I've got from the HamiltonProject.org that private prisons make $14 million per year lobbying for things for our private prisons, which gets them a lot of money. I mean, $14 million. 14 more million than you make, 14 more million less than I make in a day. So, I mean, it's just what you want to do. You want to be poor or do you want to be rich? Because the more money we make, the more GDP that our country is acquiring. So, the more money we have, the more better our people are living. And you're going to say, all the money is in the upper class. You're not wrong. But we buy the stuff that the poor people want later. Like, exactly. Like this jacket is in season right now. It's over $12 million for it. But later, it's gonna be like $1,000. So y'all little poor people can get it. See, that's how that works.
Down to someone's life or clothes, I'm gonna take life.
I'm gonna take the clothes.
Maybe our priorities are just a little
My
different.
priorities are great.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay, anyway, Jada, do you feel there is a realistic alternative that will replace private prisons' beneficial aspects without including the morally controversial?
Yes, I do. No, I don't hear yell at people, so when you said her name, I didn't hear that part. So you're asking me. And yes, there might be a realistic way to solve private prisons, but honestly, who cares? Like I said, it's all about the money, and at the end of the day, these people are like me. They want their moolah. They want to be riding up in the Benz, in the new Benz, and the one that comes out every next year. They want to be paying off people when they do something bad, like when they take their money from their taxes. They're not trying to get caught by the police, and they pay the police to catch more people so there's not enough room for us in the prisons. Because at the end of the day, every person in the world is caring about themselves and not the other person behind them, okay? So, and I'm caring about myself. Do I want to be poor? No, I don't want to be poor. I'll never be poor in the first place. But that's how it is. If you are in prison, you weren't caring about yourself because you would have done enough not to get in prison. If you're gonna do the crime, don't get caught. That's why El Chapo didn't work. I told him about that. I said the drug bust in Mexico from the Atlantic to the Pacific was not gonna work unless where he is, doing to life. I'm not. I'm sitting good. But that's not incriminating because it's a non-disclosure agreement, just saying. You may continue. Uneducated swine. Exactly, she's speechless. Baffled by my supreme intellect.
I was just gonna let him talk the whole time. Seems like he enjoys it so much.
I do enjoy hearing myself. Like, when they see this video, the views are gonna go up. So you're welcome for this publicity. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, next question. I'll do it myself. Why do you think money is the reason that private prisons are being run?
Because our country's run by selfish people like this.
Like, what do you mean like this?
Like that. You.
Like me?
It.
It. Oh, okay. I don't think you know that pronoun, it, very well, because you are it, and that's not it.
The shit.
All right, that's all we have. That's all we have.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Madison Chambliss, and you're watching Table Talk News Network. Today, we will be joined by the experts on private prisons, and we will discuss all aspects of these in our society today. Hi, welcome back to TTNN. I'm Madison Chambliss, here with our two experts today. Historian and former inmate at Rottweiler Prisons for charges unknown, Kaylee Wesolowski. And historian and author of Private Prisons or Pervert Prisons, Kendra Lynn Jacobs. Today we will hear first from Mrs. Jacobs.
Well, in the early 1980s, the Corrections Corporation of America pioneered the idea of running prisons for a profit. One of the founders said, you just sell it like you're selling cars, or real estate, or hamburgers. Today, corporate-run prisons hold 8% of America's inmates. And here's how the private prison industry took off. To you, Kaylee.
Wow, that's so interesting, Kendra. Do you want to hear my fact as well?
I would love
Well,
to.
you know this? Texas is the first state to adopt private prisons in 1985. The Bureau of Justice Statistics, which is also known as BJS, found that in 2016 they incarcerated the most people, 13,692. That's a lot.
You want to hear something else?
I would.
In 1983, Thomas Beasley, Dr. R. Krantz, and T. Don Hudo started Corrections Corporations of America, the world's first private prison company. To you, Kaylee.
That is extremely fascinating, Kendra. Well, did you know The number of people housed in a private prison has increased 47% since 2000. And the Bureau of Justice Statistics, once again, BJS, our good friend, found that in 2016, the federal government and 27 states incarcerated prisoners in private prisons that were run by groups such as Managing and Training Corporations, GEO Group, and the Core Civic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you know, in 1985, a federal judge orders Tennessee to stop admitting inmates to an overcrowded prison. Guess what that helped? Private prisons boom.
Ooh.
It also opens its first privately owned facility in Houston, a motel hastily remodeled to hold immigration detainees.
Wow. That is crazy.
This is just too much to deal.
That's
But
just-
now we've got some breaking news. Godzilla is trying to leap off a griffin's chest! We will be back. So, Mrs. Jacobs, what has been done on the legislative front to help solve this problem with our private prisons?
Well, you see, if you read my fantastic book, Private Prisons Are Pervert Prisons, which you can get on Amazon for $25, 2-day shipping with Amazon Prime, and 1-day shipping, expedited shipping, for $8. Well, you see, in this book that I have written, in 2005, Representative Ted Strickland, a Democrat from Ohio, introduces the Private Prison Information Act, which would require private prisons holding federal inmates to comply with the Freedom of Information Act requests. It died, as it had at least 7 similar bills opposed by the CCA and GEO.
Wow, that is totally shocking. I didn't know that had happened.
Oh, yes.
Well, what has happened on the bureaucratic front, not just the legislative front,
Oh.
Kaylee?
That is such an interesting question that I did a lot of research on. So did you know, in 1998, the Justice Department investigated a CCA prison.
Wow, that is so interesting. I hadn't realized that had taken place in our legislatures.
You should read my book.
Well, as we can see, there's been action on many fronts, but has there been any action taken by the Justice Department, Kaylee?
Wow, that's a really interesting question, Madison, which I do have an answer for because I did, so much research because, we're historians. Anyways, in 1998, the Justice Department investigated a CCA prison in Youngstown, Ohio, following a spate of escapes, stabbings, and killings. In addition to inexperienced and poorly trained guards, the probe reveals that the CCA took on maximum security inmates at a facility designed for a medium secure population. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Our public safety is being taken for granted by these CCA and GEO prisons. I can't believe that this is taking place. For more, visit privateprisons.org. With all this talk about private prisons going on today, we really need to know the root of this issue. For that information, we will go back to Ms. Kaylee Wesolowski.
Why, thank you, Madison. I'll tell you about this issue. So back in the 1970s was the War on Drugs, which was during Richard Nixon's presidency. And this was a movement that started in which the government tried to stop illegal drug use and its trade by increasing penalties for offenders. So this caused immense mass incarceration to take off in the 1970s, and this would increase during and through the 1990s. And also, after Richard Nixon's presidency, Ronald Reagan took on the same movement through his Just Say No Act, which was the Anti-Drug Abuse Act, which established the mandatory minimum prison sentences for certain drug offenses.
Wow, that is a lot of information that is
It is.
very important to the root of this issue. Drugs are very, very bad, and the illegal use of them and trade of them is what started this problem.
Just say no. as
Just
Ronald
say
Reagan
no,
says.
ask Ronald Reagan. Now we will go to Miss Kendra-Lynn Jacobs for some more information on the cause of this issue.
All right, well, in the 1990s, among the model bills to emerge from the ALEC's Council's Criminal Justice Task Force, which the CCA later co-chairs, are truth in sentencing and three-strike legislation that helps fuel the 1990s prison boom. The CCA says it did not vote on or comment on any proposed ALEC legislation.
Well, that just sounds like corruption right there, which is the motto of private prisons. Thank you for listening to the TTNN Network, where we talked about private prisons today with our two historians, Kaylee Wesolowski, a former inmate at Rottweiler Prison, and Miss Kendra Lynn Jacobs, the astounding author of Private Prisons or Pervert Prisons.
Get my book on Amazon.
How
For
much is
tw-
it? How much is it?
I think it's $25.
$25, 2-day shipping with Amazon Prime, and 1-day shipping with Expedite.
For $8.99. Wow.
I love it.
We should read her book because it is very amazing, as we can see from her use of facts today. But we shouldn't take away from Miss Kaylee Wesolowski's performance, who did amazing. Give them a round of applause from your couch at home. We'll see you later. I'm Madison Chambliss. You're watching TTNN. Today we will be discussing private prisons, their historical facts, their economic impacts, and we will be discussing how bad they are. Today we will be joined by experts in our studio that have run this world for a very long time without you knowing. And we will hear all of their opinions today. Hopefully you take this issue seriously because it is serious. I will see you out there, everyone. Keep watching in to TTNN today. We thoroughly enjoy your viewing. And now we will hear from our newest producer, Archduke of Ferdinand, Micah King, second in line to the Estonian throne.
Hi, America. I did what I said, and I do what I mean to do. That's how you work for El Chapo. You get stuff done, okay? When I said I was gonna buy out this company, and I did. And now everyone, including Maya Thomas, will be fired. Because what? We're bringing a revolution. No more fake news. No more people saying this. No more rapists. No more sexual allegations. No more of that. We're just here to make money. Money, and we don't care about you, America, because you don't even care about you. So, whatever. It's whatever. It's time for a new news revolution, okay? Good night.